Tushar writes in, I just started studying for audit, and in the first 2 days, I realized that it takes me a whole day to finish one chapter. I've yet to start other subjects and need some advice around what could be the best plan. Also consider that I am a working professional, so I work a minimum of 9 hours a day with mandatory Saturdays during busy season. Please let me know what approach should I follow considering everything, and are there any hacks that might be useful in day-to-day studies? Well, let's back up. First of all, yeah, you're busy. Everyone's busy. So let's take inventory here. Why are you studying for the CPA exam? I mean, it's not fun. No one likes to do it. It's incredibly boring material. It's auditing, financial, GASB, internal revenue code, partnership accounting. It's like, who cares? Well, you have to care because you want to be a licensed CPA. Now, why do you want to be a licensed CPA? Is this a goal of yours? Or is it something that maybe your parents are pushing on you, or a relative, or your boss is telling you to do it? Now, if your boss is telling you to do it, then that's a higher level of importance than maybe if your dad was pushing you to. But it's like if you were going to train for a marathon, would you start running and getting up and doing the incredible training regimen that is required for running a marathon? Would you do that if you didn't actually want to run a marathon, but maybe your spouse or significant other, they said, you know what, I want you to run a marathon? Well, whatever. You're not going to put in the time. So why are you studying for the CPA exam? Is it a goal of yours, or is it a goal of others? If you want to lose weight, why? Do you want to lose weight, or is someone else telling you to lose weight? If it's yours, you are much more likely to do it and be successful than if it is a goal and ambition of someone else. So if this is a goal of someone else and not yours, just stop right now, burn your books, whatever, move on with your life. There's a lot. It's much more fun to watch 150 hours of videos on Netflix than to study for FAR, okay? So, but if this is a goal of yours, then let's move on. Okay, it's a goal of yours. Are you willing to do what it takes? Now, if you were like me early on, I was not willing to do what it took because I worked in public accounting, and so I would come home at night. I'm like, who wants to study at night? So I'd do what every 23-year-old male does. I played Madden. And then, yeah, my exam's coming up, whatever. So then a week before my exam, oh crap. Well, I guess I'll study. And and then like, sorry, honey, you're not going to see me for the next week because I've been doing anything and everything but studying. And so I'll be MIA, good luck with the kids. like any good husband, right? And it wasn't until the goal became, it was my own, and it wasn't until I was willing to do what it took. So, okay, let's stop playing PlayStation and let's start studying. And let's stop having my wife do the sacrificing with the kids and, the husband who's MIA. How about if I get my butt out of bed earlier? How about if I study at lunch? How about if I study at night? How about if I do what a real adult should do and work? So, if you are willing to do what it takes, then let's talk about how do you study 20 hours a week? Well, I have the L plan, and it stands for early, lunch, late. And why the L plan? Well, my last name is Elliott. It just works out. So early. Well, if you are not a morning person, it's time to become a morning person. I mean, no one likes getting up early. No one does. But they have a specific reason for getting up early. They they're training for the aforementioned marathon. They like to get up and read their Bible or some other book in the morning. They like to get into the office early and actually get an hour's worth of work done before everyone shows up, and then it's chaos. So get up early, study, get up an hour earlier, stumble to the coffee pot, turn it on, and then study for 50 minutes. That's 50 straight minutes of no email, no Facebook, whatever, no distractions. Don't even think about firing up the internet unless you have internet-based lectures, and then you are going to have to put in some safeguards to keep you away from checking ESPN.com or whatever it is that you're into. Stay away from it and actually study. Maybe you need to study offline in the morning so that because who wants to study in the morning? But if you're going to get out of bed, make sure that you are doing something that's worth losing that extra hour of sleep. You don't want to get out of bed an hour earlier and then mess around on Facebook, and it's the same updates from 11:45 p.m. the night before, because you know what? All of your friends went to bed. So that's early. Study an hour before work. Now, lunch. Well, let's back up. If you have a commute and marketing alert, you can use an audio program like the Ninja Audio to study while on your way to work, and that counts as study time. Lunchtime. Now, no one wants to stay around the office during lunchtime. We all like to get out and walk down the street and gossip with our coworkers about something stupid that our boss did. But your time is better spent studying at your desk. And if you can't study at your desk, I had a friend who would go out to his car during lunch and study in the car because he couldn't study in the workplace cafeteria. This was a larger corporation, so they had a workplace cafeteria because people would come up to him, "Hey, what are you doing?" So do what needs to be done. So if you have an hour lunch, you can eat for 15 minutes and then actually get in 45 minutes. And then late. Now, if you are able to, let's say, leave at 5 o'clock, pack up your stuff, go down to the local coffee shop or fill in the blank, whatever it is, and study an hour before you actually go home. And the reason why you need to leave is because it looks weird when you're sitting at your desk after 5. Yes, it's after 5, but it's like, what are they doing? And so people just look at you weird when you're studying. It appears that you're on the clock, but you're not really. So you need to physically leave. So studying 20 hours a week is doable with the L plan, and I will give you more information on how to get the free L plan. I laugh because it's a spreadsheet. It should be free, but okay. Okay, so you have the L plan. You're going to study 20 hours a week. So how do you study? If your course is telling you to highlight this and highlight that, and just like throw the highlighters away, stop highlighting. It doesn't work. Highlighting does not work. There have been studies that have proven that highlighting does not work. What does work? Taking notes. Okay, so we have the Ninja framework, and it stands for nail the concepts. So if you learn the concepts through videos, or if you learn the concepts through a book, or if you learn the concepts through notes, or if you learn the concepts through working multiple choice questions like in Ninja MCQ, whatever it is, nail the concepts first, get all the way through the program. And I guess, yeah. So, and what that means is you have your video course, let's say, and they say, hey, watch the videos in chapter 1 and then do the multiple choice questions at the end of chapter 1 and then move on to chapter 2. Don't do that. That's wrong. And the reason why that's wrong is because you have a finite amount of time in which to study. Okay? And so you are going to do the question, or you're going to learn the concepts in chapter 1, and then you're going to move on and do the questions in chapter 1, which is fine. The problem is that when you are reviewing, you are going to have to redo those questions in chapter 1 anyway. And if those questions actually meant something after you did chapter 1, you wouldn't have to redo them. But you do because you don't remember them because that was 5 weeks ago. So skip that. So get all the way through your videos. Now, if your instructor works questions in your video, that's fine. Obviously hit pause, do the questions with your instructor. But if your instructor says, now I want you to do, questions 1 through 20 or something like that, don't. Just move on. So you nail the concepts, you watch all your videos. Now you take intense notes, intense notes. While you are watching your videos, don't highlight, take notes. Go down to whatever chain office supply store, get a big stack of legal pads and like 2 packs of really nice pens. And see, which pen do I use? I use the Uniball Vision Elite. They're more expensive, but I like writing with them. So get a stack of legal pads and get some nice pens that you like writing with. Don't get crappy pens because those are no fun. Get nice pens. Treat yourself. Nice pens. I mean, you're saving your money on highlighters, so get some nice pens. As you watch the videos, take intense notes. If it sounds important, write it down. Hit pause, write it down. And what happens is you emerge from the videos with a killer set of notes. Okay? And so you have your notes, and then you can review along the way, because what is the point of watching videos and all of that if you're not going to review them along the way? And if you just highlight in a book, you're not going to go back through the book and read the stuff that you highlighted. You're just not. And if you have a history of highlighting and then not going back, you're not in your head. Yes, I am guilty of that. Don't do that anymore. So non-stop multiple choice questions. So we've gone through the videos. We've taken killer notes. We have an insane stack of legal pads. Now is when we go through the multiple choice questions. So if you have study software, then this is when you start going through the software. And as you miss questions, or as you get a question right, but you kind of guessed on it, or you worry that you might miss it later, write it down. And so this adds to your stack of legal notes, of your legal pad. So take notes in your legal pad while you do multiple choice questions. Okay? So then you've gotten through all of your multiple choice questions. And if you're using Ninja MCQ, the software is going to keep feeding you questions. And if you missed it previously and you wrote it down and you miss it again, you probably don't need to write it down. But if you keep missing questions, like a key nugget, write it down. Review it often. So then we get to the J, which stands for just rewrite it, because rewrite wouldn't fit into the Ninja acronym. So just rewrite it. And so you have this big stack of legal pads. You've watched the videos. You've done your multiple choice questions. That's great, but you're not done. If you are now, the one caveat to this is if you are at least 2 weeks out, this will work for you. If you're like 1 week before your exam, skip this step because you do not have time to rewrite your notes. But if you do, this will pay dividends. And what happens is you have this big stack of legal pads with notes, and you take these longhand scribbles, and you start writing in little bullet points. What's the nugget? So I have this paragraph of notes. What are the 2 nuggets? Write them down on a fresh sheet of on a fresh legal pad, or maybe even take some graph paper and write it and draw a line down the middle, and then you can have on each side you can have bullet points of the material, and that would make an excellent final prep sheet, final cheat sheet. So rewrite your notes, take them from longhand into shorthand, and then that becomes your review guide. And then A, it all comes together. So you have rewritten your notes, carry those with you everywhere you go. And if you have the Ninja Notes, carry your notes and the Ninja Notes with you everywhere you go. And some people like to print out the Ninja Notes, and then the stuff that is in their notes that might not be in the Ninja Notes, they write them in the margins. It all comes together. So you are reviewing your notes every chance you get. So you have 5 minutes to kill at your desk. Glance over and read your notes. You have 10 minutes before you're going to sleep. Don't lay there with your phone and checking Facebook. Not that I've ever done that before. Read your notes. Study. Like, instead of checking Facebook, study with your notes, and start doing multiple choice questions. So if your study software doesn't use the adaptive learning algorithm like Ninja MCQ does, and Ninja MCQ is the only one that has it. So if you don't have Ninja MCQ, if you can drill down by topic. So let's say that you're taking FAR and your weakest section is governmental accounting, and a very scientific way of knowing what your weakest section is. You think, what section do I pray that I don't see on exam day? We'll start there. So start doing 20 question mini testlets over your weakest section, and do it in study mode. Never do it in an exam mode. Ninja MCQ has a practice exam. I don't recommend doing it because I don't like the fact that you don't get the answers until the end, which is the nature of a practice exam. I am a huge proponent of doing it in study mode where you get the instant feedback. So work 20 question mini testlets over your weakest area first, so governmental accounting. Let's say the first time you score a 45%, we'll do another one. Next time you score 55%, do another one. Until you score in the 70s, maybe 75%, that's an arbitrary number. That doesn't mean that you'll score a 75 on the exam. Like, a 75% does not mean 75 on the CPA exam. But what that means is that it's since you're in final review mode, you need to move on to your next weakest topic. Like, if it's FAR, it's not-for-profit or pensions, or everyone hates bonds. So do that. Keep doing multiple choice questions over your weakest areas and move backward to your strongest. And also keep reviewing your notes at every opportunity. Now, I discussed the L plan and the Ninja framework. If you click the link below, I will send you a free interactive or a free customizable Excel study planner, and that will help you to study, or that will help you to plan and budget your time according to the L plan. And it also breaks each exam down by topic, and you can figure out what you have covered and what you still need to go over. I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you for watching.